What is going on? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to MOTO-VATION. So today we are working on Cody Day's, I think it's a 2014 Honda Grom. I'm gonna put a 250 motor inside of it and we're gonna go ahead and get it all running and riding. I'm not gonna go into too much in depth on it, just kind of hang out, talk about a few things along the way, and before that, we're gonna clean this place up. One thing that I should mention is this is gonna be the last video in here. I know. Filmed quite a bit of stuff in here, right? It's kind of strange. It's a mess right now and it is very warm in here. So I have an AC, we're gonna get that in here, get it cooled off and cleaned up, and then get the lift down and get Cody's bike on it. So we're gonna be filming on this side of the garage this time. And yeah, so it's crazy. So if you're watching this, I'm long gone from here now, and you'll see some videos after this with the new location and everything. If you're not following me on social medias, you can follow me at Fat56Pat on Instagram, Facebook, so on. And you can find out where I am now and what's going on. So let's just go ahead and get this stuff done and get this garage cleaned up a little bit so we can get working on it. This is gonna get tossed. This one we're gonna keep and we're gonna put to use. Ooh. I know, not the most ideal, but it'll work. All right, let's see if we can do this without blowing a circuit. Oh. Woo. All right, so I'm gonna clean all this up, not gonna bore you guys. So yeah, how about, all right, so it's not perfect. There's a little baggie here. I'm pretty sweaty after all of that cleaning up, but you can see it's a little cleaner. And we have our 250 motor that is filthy, my old SC Project exhaust, a racer wideband, and we got a whole bunch of other stuff on the table over here. So I am gonna get something to drink, and then organize this a little bit, clean the motor up, and we'll get right into this. What I need to do right now is I need to pull all the wiring out of this, and then I'll have to remove this rear set so I can put the motor up inside. So I'm gonna get to that. You guys will just watch a little timeline. All right, wiring harness out. We're gonna go ahead and remove this rear set, and then we gotta loosen the tank and probably just pull the whole tank off, and then get the wiring harness on. Well, that's stripped. Good job, Cody. Alrighty, harness time. Now, getting all this into place is going to be the fun part. So, just going to kind of put this where I remember. Throttle body, horn. Why this keeps catching on everything. So annoying. Oh, ignition. Fuel pump. So that means all this stuff will have to go over here. Like so. This is our ECU, which goes over here. We have our AF1, set that in there. Our O2 sensor, set that right there. Our 1 to 4 adapter, right there. A Racer Mini 5, Bluetooth and wiring. All this wiring is gonna look like doo-doo for a little while until I can get everything in place. You can reuse your stock little rubber for the ECU. It does not fit well, but it does hold it in place. You gotta bend the mount for it out. Now AF1 will go, I think it'll fit right here. All right, I'm just gonna set this here for right now. This will go up to power, our 4-to-1 adapter. To our AF1. Set that up here because that's kind of where it goes. And then that goes to our O2 sensor. All wiring is there. Obviously not all hooked up. That is okay. All right, so inside here, you need to add this bar, this crossbar here, and this one. They're spacers, aluminum spacers. Then when you put your mount together, this little spacer will be here in between the engine and the mount. And then here there's gonna be a little spacer. I added a couple little washers, and then I put another one over here. Just because the bearing itself, if you look, is recessed. And you'll notice, so I usually put this little tiny washer, it's a crush washer, in between the big one and the bearings. That way it gives it a little bit of space. You don't necessarily need these two washers. I think they're for something else. They're just sitting on here. Then this one, when we get to it, I believe this goes on this side once we get it all together. But this is for the most part how it all goes together. There's a spacer, like these spacers, I don't really remember. Once we get it on, I'll show you where these go. But I think this goes on the other side of the actual frame mount. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So this goes on the other side of the frame mount. This goes all the way through. This goes on the other side of the frame mount, and this pushes all this out. I will get this all in. But remember, this with the little divot here needs to go up inside in between the center upper mount. Not the center, but the upper mount. And you'll notice that on here, all the nuts are on this side, and then I have this one going through, so the nut is on the bearing side over here, and then the nut is on here. If you look back at the old video up here, you'll see the order that it needs to be placed in. I'll put that in the video here. All right, so move these things out of the way because we got to put the lift up, or the jack up in here, put the motor in. So we're going to go ahead and remove all of these. All right, now let's go ahead and check the motor over. Now's the time you need to take and put your boot on. Just twist it on real easy, then make sure it doesn't come off. We'll set that there. Sorry, the lighting sucks over here. Putting the bottom mount bolt, or bottom bolt through the engine. Then we're gonna put the one through up here, but I need to pull the little sprocket cover off. I should have pulled this off earlier, but well, that's not good. Sprocket's rusted on. It's all right, I'll get that off later. We get it in the right spot on the rear stand. All right, kickstand can go up and out of the way. One thing I forgot to put on was our breather hose here. This would be a great time to put a block off for the head here, but Cody did not purchase one. So I'll resolve that a little bit later. Back up we go. It's pretty much right where it needs to go. This one goes here. Yup. Bingo. I had it right the whole time. Damn. Don't doubt yourself. Once you get the bolt through the motor, then you move up to the bolt just right above it, which has the bearing on it. So you have to put a spacer on that side. I'll show you in just a minute. Then you'll put the spacers and the bearings and the bolt on this side. Right after that one, you move up the other one that goes through the motor, and that is this one. Make sure you pull this off of the motor. It's in the way. Through the motor and go over and put it through the mount. Oh, it is through the mount. Sweet. The next two, this gets a spacer here on this side. It's kind of a pain to get in place, but you will figure it out. There we go. Just need to get past the rear sets without scratching them. All right, don't forget to put washers on, otherwise you have to take it all back out, back apart. There's a spacer that goes on this side right here, inside there, and just go barely in there, and then you have this. Now this is the tricky part, is getting this in there. All right, so there's a little divot here. Your vent goes there, so this slides in this direction underneath the vent. All right, so you'll see, you gotta just get that in there just right. We can slide her on through. Now we can take our little hammer, slide her on in. All right, and so there's a little spacer here on the top one, a medium spacer here, and then the really long spacer goes down here. And then we'll go ahead and get all these lined up and get them in. All right, so over on this side, we have a smaller size spacer here, no spacer on here, medium size spacer, like a medium to large size spacer there, the big one here, and a really short one down here. Then on this side, we have the tiny spacer down here on the motor. We got a medium to small spacer on the actual bearings, and then I put a little crush washer, and then the bearing, a crush washer, a big washer, and the bolt. So that way it's dead nuts center with the chain here. Then there's no spacer here. There is no spacer here. There's no spacer here, but there is that center one with the divot. And I already swapped the sprocket out. Now we're gonna plug all these things in on this side. We can go ahead and put our spark plug wire in